We opened up with Blood and Guts from one of the Berserk OVAs, and boy, I forgot that that song just kind of peters out like a dry fart in church. Oy. I guess I leaned into the pun and played Total Eclipse of the Heart. But in my mind, I was like, Eclipse, Eclipse, Berserk. But yes, how is everybody doing? I'm doing quite all right, all things considered. Yes, this past week we did have an eclipse, a total eclipse of the sun. I watched it and my wife watched it. We were not together. I had to go teach the piano lesson, so I was standing in a public park with a bunch of potheads. I did not partake. I did not inhale, as Bill Clinton would put it. But nonetheless, it was a good time. The eclipse was fun. And for some strange reason, there's a massive spike in Google searches for why can't I see as good as I used to? Because apparently putting on little cardboard glasses is too difficult for most people. Hey, Robert Leonard says, "Good morning, Larsen. Good morning to everybody. Good morning to you too, sir." Fran LPK says, "Hello, Internet Dad. Listening while having lunch." Ah, what's for lunch, sir? That's good. And yes, excuse the fact that I'm still kind of time stamping last week's stream. Been a bit busy at work, but it's almost done. Anyway, let's just get right to the news. The news that is not great. It's never good. So let's start off with my typical thing. The state of the education industry. And it is very much an industry. And yeah, this went a bit viral on April 7th. This is an actual college test shown. It's grammar practice, like differentiating between they apostrophe re, there, and their. And two and two. Yeah, accept versus accept. Yeah, this is what we're teaching in the college now. We're teaching homophones. Literally something I learned in second grade. And we're teaching this in college now. Jesus H. Christ, like, I'm sorry, did I just blink and, like, all academic, sorry, not economic, academic rigor just went down the shitter? Ugh. Perhaps Nietzsche was right. Mass education is like mass cooking. You get, bland cafeteria standards. I guess this is what happens when we don't have entrance exams for colleges anymore. Yeah. Fun fact, the other day, my wife had her first, you know, bout of staying up at night thinking about the state of America while I slept. Usually it's the other way around. So, yes, I guess she's truly assimilating to the culture as I teach it to her. Just to say, constantly being angry and longing for times gone by. Anyway, let's check out some comments here. No comments so far, but that's okay. Yeah, just we're teaching homophones in college now. Apparently, second grade, uh, second grade grammar practice is college level material now. Dare I say, we don't have to send every moron to college. Doesn't make them smarter, just makes college stupider. Anyway, we got a few more educational shit heaps going on. As if there's ever a break from this. Now, I usually am not, I'm not a Redditor, but I have perused Reddit on occasion, and there's a subreddit for teachers. Uh, what I see is not good. Now, people always say that, oh, the old whippersnap, the young people, I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue tied here. The old people always say that those young whippersnappers, they've always been bad, even going back to the Sumerian times. That is perhaps true. Then you read shit like this. and I quote, I had kids laughing at me and mocking me after my baby was stillborn, saying things like my baby was lucky to die, so she didn't have to have an awful mother like me. Lots of jokes about dead babies. Administrator responded by saying I should develop a thicker skin and I shouldn't be so emotional. I'm not at that school anymore. Nobody's debunked my thesis that the children need to be punched in the face to save the school system. I think my thesis is undefeated, and it will be undefeated because it's true. Oh, and of course, the administrator is like, well, it's your fault. The children are, cackling sociopaths laughing at a stillborn infant, but, it's the teacher's fault. If I had a gun with one bullet and I was faced with a brappy and administrator, I would turn and I would shoot the administrator first. To paraphrase, Ian Codrianu. This is what the educational system state drives me to, quoting Romanian fascists. Okay. Oh, but there's more in this thread. I found out that my friend from childhood died before sixth period one day. I told the class I'd experienced a loss. Please remain calm for the day. I wasn't feeling well. They interpreted this to mean Ms. Blankety Blank does not have the energy to get me in trouble. I can do whatever I want. Chaos, throwing food, fighting, noise, cell phones. I had to fight tears the entire period. I'm never telling those kids anything personal again. Yeah, that's they tell you not to tell the kids anything personal because kids are goddamn animals, especially nowadays. But dare I say, if I had a friend die, who are you kidding, Larsen? You don't have any friends. No, but okay, if I had a friend die, and I told the kids to be respectful, and they started just howling and brapping, I don't want to be like an internet tough guy, but I honestly think I would be leaving that school in handcuffs because I would be like just Bowser throwing a kid into the goddamn wall at that point. You think it couldn't go on, but it does. Another post from the Reddit. My wife died from brain cancer in August. What I didn't expect was a bunch of 14-year-old boys telling me they're glad my wife died. They wish I got cancer. Being in my class is worse than brain cancer. I had a kid steal a photo of my wife and child I had on my desk. Boy. You know what that kid needs? He needs to be punched in the face, and the teacher should just not stop punching until the kid learns right from wrong. Oh, yeah, And nobody thinks to punish the kids. Nobody dares think that maybe the children are the problem. Seriously, like take my idea. If the teacher has, limited permission to just starch a kid in the goddamn face, knock that broccoli-headed little shit out of his Crocs, I think the world would be a better place. I really do. Okay. Robert Leonard says, my adoptive dad, who left school in 8th grade 1935, never hesitated to correct my grammar. Core education was better back then. Yes, it was. I've literally seen like middle school exams from like the early 1900s that were harder. One second. I'm sorry, the curtain rod fell, but it's okay. But yes, anyway, yeah, it went viral on Twitter about a year ago. Like a literal middle school, like a seventh grade exam from 1902 in Slapdick, California. Literally a one room like log cabin schoolhouse. That exam was tougher than anything like a college student could do nowadays. And yes, C Punk Messiah and Fran IPK are like, what? Referring to the little sociopathic orkling children. Fran says schools will do anything to avoid getting sued by the parents. Yes. My wife says they're not afraid of the parents, they're afraid of the kids themselves. Yes, parents are afraid of their own kids at this point. Yes. I mean, I'm not afraid of the kids. But yes, I do kind of. I mean, most of the kids I've taught in my life are good, except for that shitbag brappy school I was at. But yeah, once in a while, I'm just like, please, for the love of God, just let me 1-2 punch this kid in his face. Like, surgical applications of violence can make the world a much better place. Or as Theodore Roosevelt would have put it, the worst sin in the world is to hit softly. Avoid hitting whenever possible. But if you do got to hit, put the fucker to sleep. I don't think Theodore Roosevelt said the F word, but everything else is true. Robert Leonard says, perhaps the ancient Persians were right about raising boys. They learned to ride, shoot, and speak nothing but the truth. It couldn't hurt. Yeah, me and my wife kind of agree. I should probably stop reading like threads like that because it really makes me angry. Then people are like, well, in the thread, they're like, well, it's not the kids. Like, kids have always been, bloodthirsty sociopaths mocking stillborn infants. No, I don't think so. I mean, when I was a kid, yeah, I mean, there were a couple of kids who were just like, dead-eyed sociopathic monsters, but most of them weren't like that. I would say. Yeah, fuck the kids. Fuck your children. Your kids are the problem. Kick Brappy's testicles to the roofs of their mouths, punch Brappies in the throat, headbutt Brappies noses in, throw Brappies out of helicopters, kick Brappies off bridges, shove Brappies into minefields. Like, I total Brappy death now. I'm sorry. Okay, let's move on from this. Okay. Speaking of the school system, more. Yeah, I got a few things to talk about with the schools today. Um, Here's something that actually isn't the fault of the kids. A school in North Carolina enforces silent lunch because administrators found that 15 minutes was not enough time to eat if the children were allowed to talk. Yeah, just teach the kids to shovel their food in and not enjoy their life. Yeah, that was really great when I was working. Furniture moving and construction. They had me like shovel my food down in 5 minutes. I've it's ask the lovely Daphne. It still takes a little bit of effort on my part to not just like slobber the food down like a goddamn jackal. Like, I mean, they got rid of recess and academics or electives, I should say. All that matters is that you just get the test scores up. Line go up. That's what matters. Yes. Why does America suck so much? It's a mystery. And this is allegedly like a high, ranking school in North Carolina. Yes, this will prepare the kids for a lifetime of soulless, packing plants and warehousing. Principal Skinner smiles somewhere in approval. Okay, let's leave the dismal state of America behind. And yeah, let's go to Italy. From CNN, World Europe. An alleged gang rape shocks Italy and provides fodder for the ascendant far right. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it sucks that this woman had a train run on her. But you know what's really bad? That, it might make people angry. It might give, like, right wingers credibility for limiting immigration. That's the problem. Again, I can't really mock the boot, because America's just as bad. Yes, you think you hate the media, but you don't hate them enough. Italian news is just as bad as American news. Shinseki Evans says they did that silent rushed lunch in my school. It gave me an eating disorder. People say I eat like someone that did time. Yeah, I mean, I've worked plenty of shite jobs that made me just shovel it down, so I know what that's like. Yeah, I kind of have my notes scattershotted here. So let's see what I got. Uh, if I could get my mouse working. Okay, so that was a nice Italian digression. Let's go back to America and the school system. I didn't intend for there to be so much talk about the schools, but here we are. So, at the very least, higher education is still going to be decent. Because remember how a few years ago, all the colleges were like, let's just get rid of SAT testing. We got to focus on the intangibles. We got to keep Shang Tsung from getting into college. Well, it turns out that Harvard is bringing back test scores for admission, as is Yale, and Brown, and MIT. A small victory we have to take when we can get it. The anti test crusaders were defeated. Hmm. Yeah, who knows? Who knows why that happened? In completely unrelated news, of the 73,000 freshman applications for fall 2024, 42% of them asked to have their standardized test scores considered, opting in. 49% applying under the state's auto admit rule, i.e., top 6% of their high school class made that request. Those who opted in had a median SAT score of 1400, compared with a median of 1160 amongst those who did not. Higher test scores translate on average to better collegiate academic performance. Okay, those who opted in had an estimated average GPA of almost one whole grade point higher than those who did not opt in. Yeah, it's a mystery. I mean, as much as we like to imagine that the whole test score thing is because, Mr. and Mrs. Howell, don't want Shang Tsung and Fu Manchu getting into Harvard. No, it's usually some ESG diversity shit because, of course, it is. As I said, we got to take our victories where we can get them. And there's not too many. Hey, Punk Messiah says, I often fantasize about implementing a mandatory martial arts program for schools. I also fantasize about that exact thing. Dare I say, there wouldn't be as much, bullying and, you know, angry nerd shootings if the kids could, brawl it out in school. I mean, if you want to be technical, you could probably say that it's like you could implement like an MMA program by saying it's like an American cultural thing. Like in Mongolia, they have like wrestling as like a cultural artifact and such. But yes, I too fantasize about martial arts in the La Sierra program in schools. They won't, of course. Robert Leonard says in Ireland there's an unlocked Antifa phone. It shows they're up to their necks with media and politician collusion. Yes, they sure are. This is why I say, everyone's like, "Oh, America sucks. I'm going to leave." Like, where the hell are you going to go? Like, very few countries in the world are not either just as bad as us or they're well on the way to being like this and they'll be there in like, 20 or 30 years. So what's the point of running? See, Punk Messiah says, give those kids a pie may in their lives. Their attitudes will clean up real quick. Yes, I've always felt that the best way to teach is to be like a, dour martial arts shifu or sensei and just smack the guy in the back of the head whenever he acts up. If it worked for Wong Fei Hung, it could work for the young whippersnappers. And I know, Brap Jr. thinks like, yo, man, if he puts his hands on me, I'm going to fuck him up, Brap. Yeah, no, you won't. If you act up, you will get beaten down even harder. Yes, my plan for unfucking America does involve a lot of brappy punching and anti-brappy violence. It's a shame we let it get this far, but here we are. Shinseki Evans says, are they going to stop handicapping white and Asians on the SATs? I don't know. Robert Leonard says, regards to DEI, the core studies showing better company performance are now exposed as fraudulent research. Yes, they sure are. Yeah, reading these headlines really not good for my blood pressure. Oh, by the way, I went back to that thread about the little sociopath animal kids in schools, and some assholes like, dude, what do you expect? Like, you are their torturers. You're bringing them into the classroom. Yeah. The teachers are to blame here. Jackass. I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure that, like, if you went back 100 years ago and, like, most of the kids were literally, like, working on farms, like, slaughtering hogs, I don't think they would be this callous about, you know, death and entropy. Alrighty. Let's move on from that. Let's see what we got. Oh, speaking of the eclipse, NBC says the solar eclipse will cost America about $700 million in lost productivity. Do bear in mind that the United States has a population of about 330 million people, so that means per person you lost about $2. This is a huge problem, apparently. I mean, I'm all for the Protestant work ethic, but not to the point where it's like you ignore, the majesty of God's creation around you. It's like, what you want to, you want to view the cosmic ballet moving on? Yeah, too bad, Wage. You get back to work. You're losing productivity here. Hey man, like this stonk line go up. Line go up. That's the only important thing. Yeah, I'm sorry. If you see a solar eclipse and your only thought is this is going to lose productivity, you are a soulless bugman. You should have your glasses taken off your face and stomped on repeatedly. Like, I'm sorry, you are a bad person if you think this way. Okay. Punk Messiah, with regards to me slowly getting angry at the state of things, says you should just yell out serenity now. Yes, Frank Costanza, the picture of mental health. I gotta say, like, this might be just like an internet thing. Because, like, I've never met anybody who is just such a, soulless corporate drone that they would actually say, eclipses should be ignored to focus on productivity. Like it's like the super, crazy militant feminists. Like you see them a lot online, but do you really see these people in real life? I mean, I hope they don't exist in real life. But yes, if you ever meet anybody like this, just take their glasses off, stomp on them and give them wedgies because they deserve it. Did the line go up? That's the important thing, herp and derp. Yeah. Let's see what else we have going on in the world. Let's see. See, do I want to do a stupid crime beat? Nah, I don't want to read about another brappy, like, brapping his way through life. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, got a lot of pop culture stuff. We're going to get to that in a little while. Let's see. Oh boy, continuing on America's irreversible decline. From the Daily Mail, trans woman is cleared of flashing her penis at the Ohio YMCA. Judge ruled she's too fat for her genitals to be visible. Uh, hmm. Okay, it's who cares if we have this clearly masculine mask coated person in a women's locker room. He's really fat, so it's okay. Yeah, you go to that women's locker room, Baron Harkonnen. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to fat shame anybody, but you're so fat that you can't see your genitals. You gotta take a step back and realize, this is not good. And again, like I don't understand how anybody can get that fat. Like I broke my foot years ago, and I was sitting on my ass for 6 months, and I got a little tubby. I think the heaviest I got was like maybe 230, 240. But how do you even get to the point where you're like bedridden or like you can't see your wiener? Like that, that takes deliberate effort, it seems to me. Hey, Robert Leonard says Mallory Millet, or Millet, kid sister of crazy radical Kate Millet, witnessed firsthand the cult like atmosphere of the National Organization of Women's Leadership. Yeah, I've read stories about like feminist conferences where everybody's like, as I like to say, it ends up with them dancing around the trees, worshiping their vaginas. A lot of that. Robert Leonard and Pony Throat have a laugh at this person being too fat. Baroness Harkonnen and her anti-gravity binder. Yes. Bring in that flying fat male to female, the Baroness. Yeah, and then this person's like ripping out heart plugs and like, drinking the blood of twinks. It was not good. Okay. So what else do we have going on here? Okay, we got some Twitter silliness. We'll get to that in a little while. Let's see what we got. Oh, yeah, here's something. Going back to Europe. The UK Labour Party had a tweet on April 8th We are wishing all Roma, Gypsy, Sinti, and traveler communities a very happy International Romani Day. Europeans react to this, not good. Yeah, it's the comments were remarkably racist in this Twitter thread. I mean, I hate to be cliche, but yeah, if you want to see a European like go like full like Hitlerian racist, yeah, just mention gypsies in the vicinity, and yeah, it's not good. Now, do I find it amusing as an American? Yes, yes, I do. It's yeah, a few choice threads. Vote Labor, choice tweets, I should say. Vote Labor for a gypsy neighbor. Thank you for your contribution of dirty diapers strewn all over the local park. The flag has a stolen hubcap. A campaign ad saying dealing with traveler incursions. Hey, Pikeys, get out of Britain. You're not welcome. Okay, and it goes on and on and on. Okay, let's see. Sipang Guy says then they get roasted by Alia Atreides. I'm pissed that little gremlin was not in the movie. She was in the original Dune movie. Yeah, Robert Leonard says travelers are not true Roma. Yes, that is true. Travelers are basically just regular old Irish people who got kicked off their land during Cromwell's rule over Ireland. And they just said, "Yeah, fuck it, let's just be nomads." Shinseki Evans says, "I've heard nothing good about gypsies." Well, that's beyond the point. The point is I'm taking some Schadenfreude at how Europeans always like to make fun of Americans for being racist, but then as soon as somebody who they hate pops up, they become just virulently, fanatically racist. Yes, I'm sorry. I find that amusing. It's childish and it's sour grapes, but yes, I find it very funny. Another tweet. You just lost my vote, Labor Party. I can't believe you would do this on St. George's Day. And so on and so on and so on. It would be great if I went to Europe and just started lecturing them for 100 years about how evil and racist they are. What fun. Moving on from that, breaking news. In Ecuador, the government invaded the Mexican embassy, intending to kidnap the former vice president of Ecuador, Jorge Glass, who sought legal asylum there. People were upset. In legal terms, this is an invasion of Mexico by the Ecuadorian armed forces. AMLO has already broken diplomatic relations with Noboa's regime. This will have grave consequences. A tweet said it best. The world is slowly realizing that international law really only means the United States saying, behave yourself or we'll get upset, and having the muscle to back that up. And now that the United States is declining, shit's going to pop off. I mean, I'm kind of torn on this issue. On the one hand, I don't like American imperialism to begin with. But on the other hand, while not having, I should say, will a situation in which there is no clear big dog make things worse? Perhaps. Okay. See, comments here. Ponythroat says the UK has two kinds of gypsies, standard Roma and Irish travelers. Travelers are more or less UK exclusive. Yes, as I said. The moral of the story is don't steal bicycles, says Alpha Marigi. Well, yes, I would not steal any vehicle. Ponythroat then clarifies the travelers differ from the Roma and that they have a funnier accent. I mean, they also differ ethnically, and you know, they also differ in their enthusiasm for bare knuckle boxing. Okay, moving on. Let's see, I guess we're kind of winding things down from the serious news going to the stupid news, as if the news isn't stupid in general. Okay, said some Twitter silliness, so we'll come back to that. Let's see, do I have anything more that's like real news? Yeah, I guess, yeah. I guess, yeah. Let's stick to Albion and Hibernia and Caledonia. A couple of interesting archaeological news bits happened. Basically, first of all, anthropologists recreated a Bronze Age Scottish woman named codenamed Ava. They reconstructed her face, and it's just exactly like you would expect, like a red-headed granite chin blockhead. It's let me see if I can pull this one up. Okay, yeah, here we go. Save this one here. I mean, there's a Chad jaw and a half right there. That's I mean, personally, I find these facial reconstruction studies to be very interesting. Not just because I'm pretty sure I've literally seen people like that, like, in real life today. The North physiognomy will never be defeated. Eh. Or you could see that if I ever open this up. Yeah, her sons were in the shield wall at the Battle of Hastings. Okay, let's see. Robert Leonard says travelers in the United States are mostly known for driveway sealant scams. I did not know that, but good to know. Ponythroat says bare knuckle boxing is for people who are scared of irreversible brain damage. Indeed, I mean, you can just get like severe tissue damage instead. Robert Leonard says, for once, a UK skull reconstruction didn't make it a sub Saharan West African. Indeed. Boy, it's really nice when a woman has a stronger chin than I do. But yes, I'm 90% sure I went to elementary school with this exact person. Ponythroat says her face can make up a shield wall. Yeah, yes, it could. Yes, I mean, there's something to be said for a woman who looks like she could pull the plow by herself. It's marriage quality. Keep your eyes open for that, gentlemen. But yes, also in archaeology news, something else happened that was interesting. An 1800-year-old gym membership was found in Greece. Quoting directly, Hermanus has paid his entrance fee, and he is now a member of the Sacred Boxing Society of Hercules. Excuse me, sir, that should be Heracles. Thank you very much. Dare I say, I think gyms would be a lot more popular if you refer to them as, the Sacred Society of Weightlifting or whatever. And, I'm sure, and yes, somebody has to clarify in the Twitters, Indian wrestlers are still patrons of Hanuman. Many Hindu wrestling gyms are dedicated to Hanuman, the monkey god. Yes, indeed. I mean, you get those New Year's resolutioners in the gym more often if you made it a religious duty to go to the Gym. Okay. I don't know. Personally, I find that interesting. Let's check out some comments if I can open up my thing. Okay. Ponythroat says, Ava's face is Chindar McJaw. Half Scottish, half Minger, all chin. Punk Messiah says, there's a woman capable of snoo if I ever saw one. Yes, indeed. Somewhere in the distance, Robert Crumb is furiously jacking off. Robert Crumb, of course, likes the, sort of thick-set muscle mommies. Robert Leonard says she probably had a life of eating meat and dairy, which leads to broad jaws. Yeah, also dried meat and like hard plant matter. Ponythroat says, I bet that the sacred gym of Hercules is still charging after that time. God, can you imagine the interest on that gym membership? Woof. And now I'm kind of curious as like what sort of protein bars and protein snacks they had walking out of the sacred, boxing society of Heracles. Here's some, Chelos. What the hell is it called? That blood soup that the Spartans drank. Yeah, have a big bowl of that, peasant. Ponythroat says, just add 100 pounds. She'd look just like a modern Scotswoman. Oh, for God's sake. Okay, yes, now we can get to the pop culture side of things. So, first of all, the powers that be keep trying to push man purses on us. New York Post says, hot men carrying handbags. Travis Kelce, LeBron James, and Jacob Elordi make man purses a must-have. Look, I'm sorry, you're not going to get this, okay? You're not going to convince men to carry purses. My wife whispers men already carry purses. Yeah, men who suck. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't trust LeBron James's opinion on anything that isn't basketball related, or maybe he has gotten past the first page of any book he's opened up and pretended to read. They're not satchels; they're purses. Okay. My wife says this conversation is a punch a brick wall. What, the archaeology one? I would like to I would like to stress that I gave a completely objective and clinical depiction of this facial reconstruction. I was not the one, having wet, erect nipple snoo wet dreams. I wasn't. Ponythroat says, bring back fanny packs. No, fanny packs are not coming back. My wife whispers that fanny packs are coming back too. Oh my God. Has there ever been like, have have utility belts ever been a thing? Like, I would start wearing a utility belt like Batman if you could make it fashionable somehow. What? I do not wear a, I wear a utility belt. I don't have my tool belt. My wife tells me that the one time I wore a tool belt in public when I was putting up posters for my business, that apparently is me wearing a utility belt. Not the same thing, sweetheart. Robert Leonard says the only manly purse is a sporan. Yeah, so I've noticed that quite a few cultures that wear like man skirts, they wear like some kind of scrotal pouch. I guess it offsets the femininity of a skirt. Scottish do it. Balinese and Indonesians do it. Something to be said there. Okay. So yeah, let's go to the silly side of things. Um, Something went a bit viral on the Twitters. A tweet. If a 15 to 25-year-old man cannot meet cute cashier girls and fantasize about starting a life with them, civilization is over. I'm not joking. That is the last stopper on an unfathomable amount of male rage and despair you don't want to uncork. Somebody countered this. Who fantasized about starting a life with a cashier girl? Is this some insane idea or ideology I don't understand? Maybe you're just a simp. Believe me, single men do this. I'm sorry. Single men do see random women on the streets and just go through this whole like elaborate fantasy life of like marrying them. That is what happened. That is what happens. I mean, there was literally like an old New Yorker cartoon about this exact thing. I mean, hell, even in Citizen Kane, they do this. Like, they literally. There's literally a bit in Citizen Kane where Mr. Bernstein is advising Kane about, don't waste your life just endlessly pursuing money. Yeah, he tells him, what is the line? It's like, Charles, there's one time back in 1897, I saw this woman in a white dress get off a boat. And, I saw her for like 3 seconds, but I don't think there's a day in my mind where I don't think about that girl every day. And of course, Charlie Kane fails completely to take that advice, but that's neither here nor there. Spoilers for a 83-year-old movie. I don't know, like, people, I don't know, I guess people just understood, like, sort of foolish male romanticism, and now we don't. I think that's a problem. We don't understand how men are, and, we just kind of emotionally kick them in the balls. The center cannot hold. Football and corn syrup will keep it, holding for a while, but eventually shit's going to come crashing down around our ears. Okay. Ponythroat says, I'll read in a second when I finish rubbing my eye. The real utility belt is a belt containing all your unpaid utility bills. Aha, I have auto pay, sir. Robert Leonard says, an attractive woman who's actually working a dignified job instead of twerking on OnlyFans, that's simping? Apparently so. Again, I feel like this might shock a lot of ladies, but yes, single lonely men do just go into these elaborate fantasies with like every, remotely like nice and cute girl they see. I mean, not me, of course, because I'm a super stud, but other single men. Okay, so moving on to the pop culture side of things. Actually, let's stay on Twitter silliness for a second, because there's a couple of doozies here. Okay, from Amar Almadani on Twitter, and I quote, "The kuffar took slavery and concubines from us. Slavery is not the same as when it's done by the kuffar and when it's done following the Islamic laws and teachings. Slavery in Islam is not about racism. It's captives from battles that we win. Let's reinstate slavery." Let's not. Like, I'm gonna wager that even like 99% of Muslims are like, dude, you need to shut up. Dare I say, once Pax Americana ends, I think we're going to see a lot more of this. It's like, hey. Okay, this moron continues. Most Muslim countries cannot manufacture the technologies to enable society to produce goods and services without slaves. We have to rely on the imported technologies from the kuffar. They demonize slavery and enforce abolition in Muslim countries because they want us to be dependent on their technology, which gives them power over us. And he goes on and on and on. Yeah. Fun fact, there's more slavery in the world now than there was before the American Civil War. Yeah, boy, I just want to. My wife says that the whole Scottish thing wanted her to punch a brick wall. This makes me want to punch a brick wall. There's nothing I love more than seeing just reactionary cretins, you know, dicking around on Twitter and saying just the stupidest goddamn shit imaginable. Oh, and speaking of more Twitter silliness, so silly, in fact, that I am convinced this is a bit. We went from Muslim reactionary cranks to white supremacist reactionary cranks. Okay, this is a Twitter exchange from Emo Glarthier or Faustian Soul. I'm sorry, Faustian Sovel, Sovl, because you got a Retevrin. Okay, they're talking about the schools. Emo Glarthier says, having to listen to some fat, retarded bitch condescendingly lecture you on something you know more about than them, something no intelligent male should be subjected to. Somebody mocked him. That would imply there are subjects about which you are knowledgeable. LMAO. Emo Glarthier. A. You are a gay, retarded normie who's knowledgeable and having a normal one having the most cuck longhouse safe opinions. B. I'm an expert in Elder Scrolls lore, racial anthropology, antediluvian era history, and esoteric knowledge in general. Just let that sink in for example. He was talking about how knowledgeable he is, and he opened up with Elder Scrolls lore. Hey man, you can't judge me. I know all about the Dragon Break, the schematics of the Numidium device, and Dagoth ores split from the Alvimsi Tribunal. Oh, this. I had never wanted to reach through the computer and punch somebody in the face harder than I do now. I mean, I'm pretty knowledgeable on Elder Scrolls lore myself, but I don't go around being some sort of Faustian Nietzschean Ubermensch man. Hey man, you don't know about my potions of Featherfall. You don't know about Yagrum Bagarn's the spider legs and how they work, bro. Hey man, you don't know that like punching people when they're standing up just lowers their stamina. You only damage their health bar when they're on the ground. Later on, this gentleman bragged about being able to bench 185 pounds. Wow, that's literally what any average man who works out recreationally can bench. I'm curious as to what esoteric knowledge this person is referring to. Jesus Christ. This is hard for me to say as somebody who got bullied as a kid, but I feel like bullying needs to be done like strategically and, in small doses every now and then. Because otherwise you get these cretins who are going to whine to their high school English teacher, excuse me, Mrs. Crabtree, why aren't you talking about Daggerfall? Ponythroat says brilliantly, imagine claiming to be racially superior and then naming yourself after the Bosmer. Yes. I mean, it's funny because like this guy, like I guarantee you, this guy, joins up with the Nord separatists in Skyrim. Then he goes home and has sex with his Khajiit girlfriend. I guarantee it. No, but I'm curious as to like what esoteric knowledge he's referring to. I just thought of this old YouTube video I saw long ago about this moron who somehow was under the impression that like all the planets that we see in the solar system are the same planet, just traveling through like time wormholes at different periods of time. It, I wish I could find that video. It was like one of the most idiotic things I've ever seen. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, we got a little bit of cinema news. Wait, no, take it back. Now, one more bit of Twitter silliness. It's actually a 4chan green text. But apparently, there's people who think that gorillas are a conspiracy theory. Like, they believe that gorillas don't exist. I mean, like the flat Earth thing, I can kind of understand. I mean, obviously, it's bullshit, but, obviously, nobody has stood outside the Earth, so you can't see it for sure. But, like, not believing gorillas exist, like, have you never been to the zoo? And I quote, now that the dust has settled, what were her motivations, referring to Diane Fossey? How would she build her career around an animal that doesn't exist? Was she another pawn to keep up the hoax? Was it more sinister? Was she killed because she was about to let the world know the truth? She is pictured here with poorly made gorillas. You can see they don't have nostrils. She's not touching the gorilla, almost as if to be careful not to knock it over. Like, I'm sorry, what do these people think? Like, do they think people get paid to like put on suits and like go into the hills and like pick termites off each other? Mm. Like, I've been to the zoo. I've seen gorillas. They exist. Harambe was a false flag. Like, Ponythroat, referring to that moron on Twitter, said he tried to bench 200. He became over encumbered and he could not move. Indeed. Mainly, I think he's just. I think he just hopes that if he learns enough esoteric knowledge, he'll be like Devoth Fear and be able to make like daughter wives for himself with cloning. Robert Leonard says Aleister Crowley created the Scottish Knights, a supposedly esoteric and very complicated occult knowledge that was purely created to scam rich people out of their money. Perhaps that's what the Countess Saint Germain and the Rosicrucians and all those guys were doing. Perhaps. But yeah, I'm sorry. That's I'm still trying to wrap my head around people who think that gorillas don't exist. Oh, and also apparently there's like Helen Keller truthers as well. Maybe having internet access was a mistake for most people. Maybe we should rearrange society to be more like Zardoz, where most people are just dirt farming, and then like a few people have like knowledge and stuff. A tweet. They faked the moon landing, and by God, they're faking gorillas too. All right, moving on. Now we're finally going to get to the pop culture news. So, first of all, in celebrity news, O.J. Simpson has passed away. The Associated Press says, legendary athlete, actor, and millionaire. O.J. Simpson's trial lost him the American dream. I wonder if he did some other things that might make him a little more notable. Like, I'm sorry. Like, are we like? I love this revisionism of like the O.J. Simpson trial that's been going on in recent years. I saw a tweet. It was like, of course he was innocent. Man, you believe that like in 1990s America, if they had evidence on a black man murdering, they wouldn't have put him in prison. Yeah, because 1993 Los Angeles was exactly like 1920s Mississippi, you moron. this is what happens when the kids, they don't know history. Like the people, I'm gonna let you on a little secret, people. O.J. Simpson was extremely popular amongst all peoples in America well until the murder trial. Like, it is, you cannot comprehend just how much white America loved O.J. Simpson. On multiple occasions, his wife called the police saying OJ's, smacking me around. Then the police came, they're like, oh my God, it's OJ. And they took pictures with him and stuff. And this might be a fake thing, but I did see a tweet saying kids are asking me, what was it like to live under segregation in the 90s? Thankfully, none of the students I've ever taught are that stupid, but yeah. But yes, legendary athlete, actor, and millionaire O.J. Simpson. Another tweet says it best. Legendary mathematician, essayist, and inventor Ted Kaczynski. So yeah, I guess what else can we thank OJ for? He's responsible for the dismal state of American television nowadays, if you think about it. I mean, the OJ Simpson trial showed the network executives of America that you can put any crap on TV and people will watch it. OJ Simpson also unleashed the Kardashians on the world. It. Yeah, you really did the world a favor, Juice. Okay. Ponythroat says if he learns enough Elder Scrolls lore, he will zero sum and crumble into dust like Septimus. I mean, let's be honest, he really just hopes he can get a lusty Argonian maid for himself. Albert Leonard says they also faked the Roman Empire. Fran IPK says yeah, he was a rich black man, mayor of Brentwood, and a wife beater. Yes, he sure was. Hey, Shinseki Evans says people came to cheer him during his police chase. Yes. Alpha Rodriguez says the juice was spilled. Fran IPK says, why is America so obsessed with race? I don't get it. Well, sir, the main reason is that a lot of people make a shitload of money off it. A lot of people make a shitload of money off of, the racial grift. That's why. C Punk Messiah says, listening to Henry Rollins gave me an idea of how out of line LA cops were. Punk rockers despise the pigs. Yeah, I mean, that's the main reason why they lost the OJ trials that, Mark Furman and the other detectives were way out of line. But, yeah, I think his guilt is pretty self-evident. Ponythroat says, OJ was officially outlived by Bill Cosby. Yes. Alpha Marie says, Norm MacDonald died. Yes, that too. Well, I'm sure Norm was making jokes in heaven. Norm MacDonald trended on Twitter after OJ died. Yes, he did. The more you think about it, the more you realize just how foundational O.J. Simpson was for like the modern state of the American media in almost entirely bad ways. At least the Naked Gun was funny. Okay, we have some cinema news. Okay, Francis Ford Coppola, his last movie, Megalopolis, it's facing an uphill battle for a mega deal. There's no way to position this movie. I think it's pretty sad when Francis Ford Coppola can't get a buyer for his movie. The marketing team is like, well, there's no clear good guys and bad guys. Like, How do we market this? Yes, how do we market it? I've also heard that Megalopolis was an absolute shit show in production, which can only mean that it's going to be a good movie because Apocalypse Now was an absolute debacle in production, so much so that he almost killed himself twice and ended up being a masterpiece. So, I'm looking forward to Megalopolis. Yeah, I'm sorry, like, can the marketing team not come up with the idea of from the director of The Godfather and Apocalypse Now? Megalopolis. I mean, hell, if you even want to attract, the young whippersnappers, you could say from the director of Bram Stoker's Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola. I know I've said this a lot, but you don't hate Hollywood executives nearly as much as you should. Just when I think I hate them enough, they dig a little deeper. But speaking of easily marketable IPs, a live-action Monopoly movie has been greenlit with executive producer Margot Robbie. Board games and video games and toys. This is what the movies are nowadays. I mean, like you. I'm trying to think. You could do a Monopoly movie that's like not terrible if you went like hard line, like rise and fall of a business tycoon. Something like The Roaring Twenties crossed with Wolf of Wall Street. Like if you went that, like hard R like Monopoly movie, like it could be decent. But what I'm afraid they're going to do is just going to have like a bunch of celebrities voicing like dogs and thimbles and battleships, going capitalism is bad. At the very least, I think it'll be better than Battleship, the Uno movie. I'm curious as to, I don't know, does Margot Robbie produce movies? Or is it just like, hey, she was in the Barbie movie, that was successful, so let's just, we got to get some experience with the toy movies. I don't know, is Tim Curry and Colleen Camp can't be too busy. Like, they were in the Clue movie that was pretty good. And that's by far the best board game movie ever made, for what little that's worth. Unless you count the Broadway played Chess, which is really more about the drama between Bobby Fischer and Gary Kasparov. Okay. Robert Leonard says Norm MacDonald gets to trash talk OJ forever. Alpha Marie says my new favorite is Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within. I guess that's, well, I meant more like, I was talking more about board games, but yes, video game movies are also going to be coming out. Mario and Sonic have had, and Detective Pikachu have been successful. We keep hearing about the Zelda movie, which may or may not be coming out. Again, I feel like that, if you did it right, could be, as good as Lord of the Rings. I don't think they're going to do it right. But we'll see if that even comes out. If it does, it'll probably be some slapdick fantasy nonsense nobody will remember in 5 minutes after they watch it. Alf Rodriguez says, it sounds like communist shit. I mean, to be fair, the original Monopoly game was designed to sort of teach about inequality. So if you went like, if you made the Monopoly movie like basically a cross between Scarface and the Wolf of Wall Street, like that might be good. I don't think they'll have the balls to do that. Point of it says it'll be as good as the Battleship movie. Fran LPK says board game movies, really? What happened to movies born out of personal visions for art and entertainment? Well, that doesn't pay well, sir. And, the elephant in the room, as America becomes increasingly multicultural and divided, there's no, shared cultural heritage. So movies are going to be based on just pop culture flotsam. Pointy Throat says, does Dungeons and Dragons count as a board game movie? I suppose it would. So, yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay, so here's how board game movies rank. 1. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves. 2. Clue. 3. The Dungeons and Dragons with Jeremy Irons acting like a jackass. 4. Battleship. Alpha Mariga says Final Fantasy X, the video game, is my favorite movie. Ha ha, too many cutscenes. I see what you did there, sir. I don't know, they always, I always made that joke about Metal Gear Solid, personally. But I was never a huge Final Fantasy fan, so that's probably it. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye open for the Monopoly movie. And speaking of the vidya, a ranking from, I think, the BBC ranked the most 20 iconic, BAFTA ranked the 20 most iconic video game characters of all time. Number 1, Lara Croft. Number 2, Mario. I'm going to call bullshit on that. I mean, look, Tomb Raider's great, Lara Croft's great, but number 1, I don't think so. Okay, let's see. Number 5, Sackboy. Number 7, Link. Again, bullshit. Now, granted, of course, they used, little bitch Link from Breath of the Wild instead of one of the guys who looked like he could fight. But still, fucking Sackboy. Okay. 19, Ellie from The Last of Us. No. Lara Croft should definitely be in the top 10, but, come on, number 1? I don't think so. Is it just because she's British, BAFTA? Yeah, I'm sorry, who? Yeah, I don't know, I can't imagine a bunch of, frumpy Twattenshire, peerage BAFTA men really know what the hell they're talking about here. But, come on. Minecraft Steve. And really, number 18, Kazuma Kiryu from Yakuza. Is the Yakuza series that mainstream? And number 14 was Solid Snake, and that's not actually Solid Snake. That's literally Big Boss. That's Naked Snake. Or the OG Snake. Shinseki Evan says the new D&D movie is good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's it's not the best movie I've ever seen, but it's a lot better than any board game based movies should be. Alpha Marie says British bias is crazy. Yes. Fran IPK says, what about a chess movie? Feminists will love it. The Queen is the best piece. Well, there is a chess movie and Broadway show, but it's a dramatization of the Kasparov-Fischer match from 1975. Pointy Throat says Sackboy should not be in the top 20. Is this list PlayStation biased? Okay. Alpha Marita says Professor Oak is more iconic than Lara Croft. I don't think so. Like I said, Lara Croft definitely in the top 10, but I just don't think she's number 1. Alpha Marita says at least they didn't put Jet Set Willie or the great Gianna sisters on the list. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't put Banjo Kazooie or Saber Wolf or Battletoads on the list because they're all British characters too. Shinseki Evan asks, was Ryu or was Ru or Chun-Li on there? And yes, I had a substitute class who I taught once, Japanese girl. I pronounced it as Ryu. I was informed that it's Ru. Technically, it's more like Ryu. But okay, anyway. Here's the list, top 20. In order from 1 to 20, Lara Croft, Mario, Agent 47, Sonic, Sackboy, Pac-Man, Link, Master Chief, Kratos, Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate 3, Arthur Morgan, Pikachu, Minecraft Steve, Solid Snake, Crash Bandicoot, Cloud Strife, Asterion. Why are there two Baldur's Gate 3 characters? Whatever. Kazuma Kiryu, Ellie from The Last of Us, and Nathan Drake. No Street Fighter characters were on the list. I don't know where to begin with this list. This is a stupid list, and, Reginald Twattenham-Shire should be ashamed of himself for writing this. Hey. Alpha Maria says, did Bobby Fischer mention the elephant thing in the play? What, you mean Bobby Fischer's virulent anti-Semitism? I don't think that came up in the play, no. Alpha Maria says, Battletoads is iconic as because of the prank call it is a what? Yes. Ponythroat says, put Mike Hagar in his suspender that he must switch between shoulders when he turns around on the list. Yeah, there's not a single Street Fighter or Final Fight or Saturday Night Slam master on that list. Shinseki Evans says, it's absolute bollocks. Alpha Marigi says, Pokemon is the highest grossing franchise of all time. Yeah. Fran IPK says, Agent 47 is great, but not enough for number 3. Yeah, I agree. And is he really that iconic? Like, he's literally just a bald man in a suit. Also, why Ellie and not Joel? Having never played The Last of Us, I couldn't tell you the first thing about it. Other than, aren't there like mushroom zombies or something? Speaking of zombies, where's Leon Kennedy or Chris Redfield or Albert Wesker from Resident Evil? Like, I'm sorry, like any list that does not have Mario as number 1, that is stupid. Okay. Oh, and last but not least, speaking of British cultural, raping, just kidding. The Mummy, the Stephen Sommers film, will return to theaters April 26th to celebrate the film's 25th anniversary. That's good. I mean, it's a good movie. And I guess Brendan Fraser's back on the market now. Yeah, it's a shame that the sequels were hot garbage. The original still holds up as an actioner. And of course, people are like, "Oh, the movie's racist," because of course they are. So that does it for my prepared remarks. Let's see what the comments say. Ponythroat says Nathan Drake is just Lara Croft with smaller bosoms, unless he's in his unlockable donut Drake form. I've never played Uncharted, so again, I will take your word for it. Yeah, I'm just reading that video game list, and it's just yeah, like, are there really any first person shooter Master Chief, but No Doom guy, no Duke Nukem. Yeah, I don't want to be the guy who's like, you should have Caleb from Blood on it. But yeah, he shouldn't be there. But yeah. The more I look at this list, the more it angers me. And god damn it, like why Aonuma, like why do you make Link look like a little bitch? His little twig arms. He didn't used to look like that. Mm. Oh, and of course, in the picture for Lara Croft, they have like the new Lara who's like doesn't have the giant triangle boobs. And come on, Baldur's Gate 3, like not even, Minsk from Baldur's Gate 2 with his, death hamster. Alpha Marigi says, I remember a clip of the side scrollers where someone listed Mario, Link, and Samus as one of Nintendo's mascots in 2024. I mean, if you want to be technical, isn't Pokemon made by a third party company that's just owned by Nintendo? Then again, I don't really think Link or Samus are really mascots per se. I think they're too, serious to be mascots. Rick says, still a better Indiana Jones movie than Dial Up Destiny, referring to The Mummy. Yeah, it is. Fran LPK says, I like the Boris Karloff movie. Yeah, the original Mummy's good too. And that's actually sort of the basis of the Stephen Sommers Mummy movie. Pointy says, and the Scorpion King looks like he was rendered on the PS2. Yeah, the Mummy Returns was shite. Fran LPK says the Gordon Freeman or BJ Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein. I mean, if you're gonna have one FPS character, like it should be the Doom guy. Halo's great, Master Chief is great, but more iconic than the Doom guy? I don't think so. Alpha Marigi says, I remember seeing part of Spoonie's review of Final Fantasy X. The part ended with showing how it takes to kick a box for potions one at a time. I wished it was longer. I was disappointed. They call that manipulative editing. I know the Spoonie one was great back in the day. So yeah, you guys talk amongst yourselves, because I'm officially out of things to say. Okay, it looks like we're done here. So for Larsen Halleck, this has been Larsen Halleck. All of you have a